So unfortunately last week when we were recording the fantasy episode on Blab, we were having a couple problems. While it was normal when we were doing the recording, when we went to look over the footage, there was a bit of a delay and we were talking over the beginning of each other's sentences. So you're going to notice this week that the beginning of what people have to say might be cut off a little. We did our best to salvage what we could from the footage, and this is the result. So thank you guys for bearing with us, and sorry about the technical difficulties. Enjoy.
Press start.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Odd Shaped Panel. We're on episode 8, Fantasy. Fellowship of the fans, because we have some great people, pretty much all of them regulars, so you'll see a lot of familiar faces. Hopefully they don't end up in any halls, any houses of black and white. You wouldn't want to see that. So, this is the lovely Kimber Barrett.
Hey,
And I'm Tom Bennis.
who do you think is the best knight?
My favorite knight is the embodiment of the word knight and everything that knight believes in. It's actually Sir Barrett Selmy.
You know this man?
I know him. As one of the greatest fighters the Seven Kingdoms has ever seen.
He was he actually entered a tournament at 10 years old as a mystery knight, and he did a pretty good job. He didn't win it, but then at 16 he actually won it, and Aegon made him a knight. So that's pretty crazy. 16 years old, and then his actual squire was Jaime Lannister. So the reason why Jaime is a good fighter before he lost his hand was because of Sir Barristan. And Joffrey strips him of his knight, his title, and he's.
Your Grace, the King's Guard is a sworn brotherhood. Our vows are taken for life. Only death relieves us of our sacred trust.
Even now, I can strike all you guys down, without breaking a sweat, And he didn't even want to take the land they gave him and the wealth they gave him.
I am a knight. I shall die a knight.
It's crazy to see Jaime's story kind of mirroring Selmy's, though.
Just wanted to do his duty. That's all he loved. That's all he ever wanted to do. And he could do that with helping, Daenerys.
I am Barristan Selmy, King's Guard to your father. Allow me to join your Queen's Guard, and I will not fail you again.
So I'm going to go with Obi-Wan Kenobi as the best knight.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
I know the prequels were not that great, but if you just kind of look at them as a vehicle for learning more about Obi-Wan Kenobi,
I will do what I must. You will try.
then I think you can kind of squint a little and ignore all the other awful stuff that you kind of his more of his fighting style, because they obviously didn't showcase that in Star Wars. The actor was a lot older, so they probably didn't think about we could do these cool lightsaber battles.
Frog. He starts off as a squire and gets cursed when his master gets killed, and he becomes an anthropomorphic frog. So he then goes on this huge quest to get the one sword that can defeat this evil sorcerer that's plaguing the kingdom, and along the way becomes knighted, and then eventually travels through time with the rest of the characters to stop the end of the world.
I really like Sir Davos, the Onion Knight.
I've never been much of a fighter. Apologies for what you're about to see.
I love the concept of Landon Knights, because a lot of knights are born into that whole setting. Jaime was definitely had a better chance at becoming a knight than Davos. He's giving this honor based on his deeds. Even though he stole onions, he got his fingers cut off. he still became a landed knight. And now he's just making all these moves. And he's so good with kids.
You were a pirate once.
No, I was never a pirate. I was a smuggler.
What's the difference?
Well, if you're a famous smuggler, you're not doing it right.
Brienne of Tarth.
Oh, she's so good.
She's fucking badass. She has the Oathkeeper sword.
Valyrian steel.
It's yours.
I can't accept
It was reforged from Ned Stark's sword. You'll use it to defend Ned Stark's daughter. They say the best swords have names. Any ideas?
Oathkeeper.
And it's kind of pretty appropriate for her because she always keeps her oath. Like, she has the most honor out of 90% of the men on that show. Like, she's amazing.
You can't get more like true knight than her. And the fact that she like refuses to call herself a knight just charms me even more about her character.
My lady, my lord, can I have a word?
What about? Not kidney pie?
You seem like a proper lady. You know, someone who could be trusted.
And she's fucking 6'3". I love like a giant
badass
person. Yeah.
Like, she's one of the few characters on that show who's never disappointed me, and I genuinely think she's the best knight.
And it's the only like real example that we get to see of a knight and a squire.
I almost forgot. I have one more gift.
I don't need a squire.
My favorite knight is actually Peter Dinklage in Knights of Badassdom.
I can hear the breeze on my skin. 'Tis burnt orange.
That ain't English. The fuck's he saying?
At the very end, when he comes in and like
Yes,
murders Damon, I had to rewatch it, and I gotta say it's even better.
I don't know what you're on, but I think it's clouding your judgment.
Naked master, the scales have finally fallen from mine eyes.
Yes! Behold, my Lord Ulrich, the rock, the hard place. Like a wind from Geldland he sweeps by, blown far from his homeland in search of glory and honor. We walk in the garden of his turbulence.
Yeah, I just figured that, you know, he didn't start off a knight, so like that's why I feel like he became a knight. People that I talked to like that movie, but then I feel like it kind of got forgotten, which I always end up going back and watching it and loving it.
Too, one of my favorites. I've seen that movie like 100 times. It never gets old. Awesome soundtrack. That's peak Heath Ledger hotness for me. He was so beautiful.
Sir Didymus.
Stop, I say!
Please, we have to get across.
Without my permission, no one may cross.
Please, I only have a little time left.
And his faithful steed Ambrosius from Labyrinth.
Forward. Steady, boy. Come on, Ambrosius. Just close your eyes and go.
Definitely my number one favorite. He's like super valiant. He has his friends' backs all the time, no matter what. He's tough as nails. He has little tiny teeth. He's like Rocket Raccoon, but classy. I'm into it.
Thank you, noble sir.
My lady.
Who are you? We are the knights who say... Ni. No, not the knights who say ni. The same!
What do you like about them?
It's just really funny. I just remember it being a really funny part.
You have proved yourself worthy. Will you join me? You make me sad.
The Black Knight.
The Black Knight,
It's just a flesh wound.
Now stand aside, worthy adversary. 'Tis but a scratch. A scratch? Your arm's off. No, it isn't.
Imagine anyone getting hit like that in any part of their body and not reacting in a severe, tragic way. And it just made it hilarious to me.
What are you gonna do, bleed on me? I'm invincible!
I don't know if Robin Hood counts as a knight.
He did serve in the Crusades before then. He was Sir Robin of Locksley. So yes, Robin Hood does count.
I always heard that a lot of people hate that movie, but I really like the Kevin Costner movie.
the Prince of Thieves, because also I really like also I always forget Alan Rickman as the bad guy in that movie also.
Huxley! I'm gonna cut your heart out with a spoon!
Why a spoon, cousin? Why not an axe?
Because it's dull, you twit. It'll hurt more.
Mad Mardigan from Willow. Because technically, he is a knight. He's a disgraced knight, but he is a knight.
Like, he's the Han Solo of knights. And I love him.
Only one of us should go in there. I've had experience in this sort of thing. I know what I'm doing.
I love him in that movie, actually.
Yeah.
Mad Mardigan is like one of the ultimate sex symbols from my life.
How can I stop the beating of my heart? It pounds like never before.
Out of fear.
Out of love.
I can stop it. I'll kill you.
Death next to love is a trivial thing.
Probably one of the best Val Kilmer roles.
one of the highlights.
Like a lot of movies, and that was like before like Val Kilmer was a household name, and like you weren't distracted by the fact it was Val Kilmer. Like when Val Kilmer was Batman, you're like, all right, but it's Val Kilmer.
And he has amazing hair. And it was before Val Kilmer gained all that weight and looked like Chaz Bono.
I want to help you. Is there any way I can help?
Yes, there is.
Captain Zach Brannigan from Futurama.
Wow, the Zach Brannigan?
Has to be the worst leader of any kind of anything, and why he is like the leader of all the armed forces on the earth is beyond me.
Kiff, show them the medal I won.
Hey, worst leader? I actually went with Harry Potter.
Think Fight back! You coward, fight back!
Like, he got Snape murked. And he got, like, I feel like a lot of people got murked in that show, in the movie and in the books, was mainly because of Harry Potter. Like, he was, like, it's a good, don't get me wrong, because I fucking love the series and I love the book, but he was an idiot in a lot of parts, and people were just like, oh, he's Harry Potter, let's just follow whatever he says.
Look out, Jake Dumbledore, what's happened?
He's back!
My son, the day you were born, the very forests of Lordaeron whispered the name Arthas.
He is the prince of Lordaeron, and he starts off pretty good. He's a paladin going to go find out why these cultists are causing problems in his kingdom. And then through the course of like finding that the cultists are contracting with demons, and then meeting one of these demons, I think is it Archimond? I can't remember which Dreadlord it is, but one of the demons marches back to Lordaeron with an army and begins to raise the people of Lordaeron as undead. So Arthas, as the psychopath he slowly has become, decides to kill all the people of his kingdom before they can be turned into undead.
My child, I watched with pride as you grew into a weapon of righteousness.
So he lays waste to the city before the demon accuses them as an undead army, and then eventually marches to Northrend, which is like their northern continent area, to chase the demon there, and then becomes a Lich King after killing the demon or defeating the demon or whatever. He's a really good tragic character, but as far as leaders go, holy crap, is he terrible.
Ramsay
This is turning into a lovely evening.
has a reputation to kill his own just born brother, and also his father, and also his new mother and everything. He abused of Sansa.
He's securing his right to lead.
A leader has to have also a good reputation.
True. I like that.
Joffrey, for what he did to Eddard.
I am the king!
everyone told him, don't do it. He's like, oh, no, I'm just a good leader. This is what I'm going to do and whatever. And now Tom and
I am the king.
this doesn't scream good leadership. They're not even the leader themselves. They have like a voice in their ear always. You know, it's not them being a leader. So how can you be a leader without you choosing what you're doing, kind of thing? You know, you can have advice from people, but like he's basically just a mouthpiece.
General, what's his name? General Kale? General Call with the Skeletor mask.
Well, Kale at last.
My queen.
Fucking
Worst leader.
Worst leader. Worst fucking leader. Worst because he's so bad. He's so good at being bad.
I have destroyed the castle at Galadorn.
Well done. But now I have another task for you.
Mine is Draco Malfoy.
Not all wizards are good.
That dude is consistently and constantly writing checks.
Oh, yeah?
His ass can't cash, man. He can't cash a single one.
Oh.
And it's like all the time.
Yep.
It's like, what time is it? Wednesday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Well, I'm going to roll up on Harry and get in his face with some spell I don't even know about that I haven't mastered yet and make an ass out of myself. Like, down to the end, man. Starts a fire in the room of requirement. Look, no doubt, I love Draco Malfoy, but I love him because he's so terrible. Like, he starts a fire in the room of requirement and destroys everything for everyone. Like, he can't follow through on any of his plans. Like, dude is just, he's a mess, man. He's a mess. Pansy Parkinson, I mean, come on.
It's the film version of Denethor. He is the worst possible leader that you could ever have.
Osgiliath must be retaken.
My lord, Osgiliath is overrun.
Much must be risked in war.
Safe version because book version he's actually a lot better, but the film version, while I love John Noble and he's amazing on Fringe, definitely deserved all those Emmys. He just plays such a despicable bastard, and he is horrible to Faramir, and just like adores Boromir. Even though we know what happens because he's Sean Bean.
You wish now that our places had been exchanged. That I had died and Boromir had lived. Yes. I wish that.
Wrong kid, Dad.
I'm gonna see your Denethor and raise you an Isildur.
Ooh,
But it's somebody else. Isildur is Aragorn's grandfather, whatever. He's the dude who gets the ring initially and decides not to destroy it.
The ring passed to Isildur, who had this one chance to destroy evil forever. But the hearts of men are easily corrupted.
Full of bad decisions. Like, he's the reason why all of it goes bad. He literally had the chance to nip it in the bud and totally was like, nah, I think I'm gonna just, like, keep this. It seems like a good idea, right?
John and the sheriff of Nottingham, like from Robin Hood, like those two are horrible. Like what they do.
Would you prefer pain or death?
Death.
Torturing.
And Alan Rickman's portrayal in Prince of Thieves. I mean, he's the best part of that movie.
Do you mind, Loxley? We've just been married.
Like, I don't watch the movie to watch the Robin Hood stuff. I want to see the Sheriff of Nottingham
That
stuff.
whole-
He's so vile and
That
like,
whole
he's just
movie
so
was
great.
That whole movie was pretty good, with the exception of Robin Hood and himself.
Everything I do it for you.
Kuzik, fifth son of Laponius, yes. Rub-a-dub-dub, Earl of Ringor.
Rub-a-dub-dub.
Rub-a-dub-dub.
Yeah. Definitely my other favorite knight. Even though he's a backstabbing son of a bitch when he wants to be, I feel like he sees the error of his ways not too soon after.
Come, let us gingerly touch our tips.
He just made me so mad that he would like kill Conan's parents and everything. And
He's evil, a sorcerer who can summon demons.
How dare he?
That guy was a dick, apparently.
Dance, magic, dance. Dance, magic, dance. Dance, magic, dance. Dance, magic, dance.
Chamberlain Skeksis.
Stay, friend. Prophecy caused all this trouble.
All the time I'm like, I did this.
My mom used to, my mom used to imitate that to scare me.
Yeah, I love Dark Crystal's character.
She'd like go around the house like,
Quiet! Well, I am going to choose a dragon. I'm going to pick Smaug. And I like Smaug because, first of all, they got Benedict Cumberbatch to voice him in the movie, which is awesome, and it's even more awesome against Martin Freeman's Bilbo Baggins because I'm a Sherlock nerd. But Smaug is cool because Smaug is smart, he talks, he has, like, sassy lines, the dragon voice is amazing.
I laid low your warriors of old. I instilled terror in the hearts of men. I am king under the mountain.
I just loved the way that he looked. Like, even if people weren't fans of the Hobbit movies, which I was, I think there was a lot of fun and a lot of good in them. They have to admit that what they did with Smaug in the animation is fucking unbelievably amazing. If you guys haven't heard Benedict Cumberbatch do that voice, like, I think a lot of people assume that most of it is, like, special effects on his voice for that movie, but he's doing way more of that than you think. He can get, like, these crazy, like, sound out of his booming voice.
So, Miranda, is your heart beating faster? Slower than before?
It's arousing and terrifying in equal measure. I'm very confused right now.
And he did the motion capture, which he was very serious about informing people of. So, Smaug.
Toothless. I could have sworn you had...
Love Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
Super good, man.
Toothless is good.
The way it lives for like 500 to like 1,000 years. I always thought that was, and then the old saying, a phoenix will burn from the ashes or whatever. I just always thought that phrase was, awesome.
I think Cerberus is pretty awesome. Like a three-headed dog. Like a giant dog that guards the souls from leaving the Hades, the underworld. So, I mean, I think that's awesome. And like, they actually had like the allusion to that in Harry Potter with Fluffy.
I've loved unicorns since I was a little kid.
All right, guys, you do know that there's no actual Candy Mountain, right?
Sean the non-believer. Sean.
Yeah.
I used to have like every like 80s like unicorn poster like in my room. I've since lost a lot of them from several moves and like all those. Do you remember fuzzy posters? I think they still sell them. Like where you like they give you the 4 markers. Like every fuzzy poster that had a unicorn on it, I had it and colored it and hung it up in my room. Any books about unicorns, like all the unicorns from My Little Pony, I always like got those figures. I think they're so beautiful and majestic and. You don't really see like too many things that just like have unicorns in them anymore. I don't know if they're as popular.
If you want to know the secret of being, you will come with us.
The Tarrasque, which is traditionally, I know it from like a lot of D&D type stuff, and it's a creature created through some ancient time with the sole purpose of waking up every few thousand years and like wiping the earth clean. And it doesn't have a lot of powerful magic powers or anything like that. It wakes up, it busts out of wherever it's been sleeping, and it goes and proceeds to destroy by crushing and eating everything around it.
For people who don't know who Beorn is, he is the skin changer from The Hobbit.
Yeah. In the movie, he wasn't really presented that well, but it just seems like he was covered a lot better in the books.
That was like a crazy looking bear.
Calcifer
creatures.
from Howl's Moving
Your
Castle, only because Cal is one of my favorite characters from that movie.
I'm an extremely powerful fire demon named Calcifer. I just like to do that once in a while.
Voiced by Billy Crystal in the American version. He's awesome.
Flying Bison from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yeah, like they're fucking adorable. You can fly around on those bitches.
Yes.
Like I want one. They're like a giant stuffed bear, and they fly. Can't get any.
I'm coming for you, buddy. Saga, Appa didn't eat Momo.
It's Pan from Pan's Labyrinth. To me, that's like hands down my favorite.
Yo he tenido tantos nombres viejos que solo pueden pronunciar el viento y los árboles. Yo soy el monte y el bosque y la tierra. Soy un faun.
I think I saw that movie with Kimber as well. I believe I saw that movie 3 times in the movie theater because I was like seriously obsessed.
We went when it was on like a limited run and only like 6 theaters in South Florida were playing it before they released it to more theaters. But I had never heard of the movie she was taking me to.
Trust me, you'll be
like
fine.
we're watching it. It's in Spanish. We're going. That movie is amazing. That is like a perfect movie.
So good,
I'm
man.
So glad
Hands
we went
down, one
for
of my
that. That was
favorites. Has
awesome.
aged really well. Obviously, Guillermo del Toro is a master of his art, although recently he's been making some questionable decisions, which I disagree with. But I think that, I don't know, just like the sheer beauty of that film, like obviously all of the creatures in that movie are beautiful, but like the fawn was just like, plus it's played by Doug Jones.
He was also the Pale Man in
Yes.
that movie. He has so many amazing characters.
The big dog from Neverending Story.
Yeah, he looks more like almost like an Oriental inspired dragon
For sure.
than a medieval dragon.
What would you like to wish for next?
I just wanted to do that. I actually choose the wands from Harry Potter. Which one? Really, any of them.
The wand chooses the wizard, Mr. Potter. It's not always clear why.
I think I got Harry's in my drawer right over there. It's movie accurate as well. Avada
I have Voldemort's wand, of
somewhere
course.
else, but
Who else would I?
that's the one thing I don't like. They essentially turn into guns, and even in the video games, they pretty much turn them into guns, and that was not how Harry Potter works.
We're all stupid little people. Yo.
We're all stupid little people, yo. I'm not a stupid person.
We're all stupid.
Because I'm a big fan of Harry Potter. Behind all that shit, there's all 7.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
This is Dumbledore's. I mean, from the Immortals, the Epirus bow that Theseus has.
It would be Theseus.
I think that's like, I don't know if people know about it, but it's like Zeus put it into like a rock. It's made from like an Epirus tree. And it's a bow that is like pure energy. So it's a regular bow, but every time you draw back, a light arrow comes out. So if you think, and it doesn't have to abide to the rules of physics. So whenever you shoot it, it'll always go straight. So wherever you aim it, that's where it's gonna hit.
Gods chose well.
Like Legend of Zelda, it's kind of like that, where it's a light arrow.
The Master Sword of the Legend of Zelda series, I really love that. You know. You know, like it's so horrible playing through that game, knowing it's like, okay, soon I can get the Master Sword and I'm going to slay all of these enemies so much quicker. Especially when you're at full power and it does like the energy beam coming out of it. It's like, oh my god, I've got to like get more heart potion so I can, you know, get back up to my full power. And
like throwing knife from the movie Crawl. It's this old 80s movie. It had knives all over it, and he could throw it at people, and it kind of had magic powers too. It was like just total awesome weapon.
The Angel Blade.
You're going to surrender to us and to the judgment of heaven.
I just feel like that it's unlike any kind of knife, and I'm not really into knives, but that's the whole point.
That's like one of my favorite moments with Castiel when he's about to like hook up with a girl.
So, did you have protection? I had my Angel Blade. Oh, you had the Angel Blade.
It's Excalibur.
You must put it back.
Because much like Lord of the Rings is like the template for modern fantasy adventure concepts and stuff, Excalibur is like that ideal magical weapon. It's like it's the progenitor of every magic sword we've ever had ever in our mythology.
If a boy has been chosen, a boy shall be king.
The hands of God. Like,
Well, who'd have thought the hand of God would turn out to be a one-hitter?
like if they were more than a one shot, those would be like really cool weapons. Like I thought they were pretty.
I kind of like that they are one shots though, because there are so many like things that are considered like religious artifacts throughout mythology. I would watch that show. It was just like Antique Roadshow, but it was like we're looking down for hands of God.
Mine is from Steven Universe, the Rose Cannon.
I don't know how it works. And what's roses? Dad, how do we use it?
That Steven gets from his mom. I love it for multiple reasons. The fact that Steven's the only one that gets to use it because he has a part of his mom attached to him.
You have Rose's gem.
Also, the perfect line, if every pork chop were perfect, we wouldn't have hot dogs. That's the way you activate it and use it.
We're saved!
In the movie The Witches, also the book by Roald Dahl, The Witches, chocolate is used as a weapon.
I have some chocolate here. You are in for a treat.
They cast a spell over the chocolate, and when children eat the chocolate, they turn into mice. So like that's like the big bad of the movie. So I think that that's a really awesome weapon because you can get rid of all those sticky children.
My pick for that is actually Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber.
I have something here for you. Your father wanted you to have this when you were old enough. Your father's lightsaber. This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight. Not as clumsy or random as a blaster.
It's something that brings characters together. I could have that whole presentation at the end of Force Awakens was a little much, but I think there was more going on there.
Yeah, I'm gonna also say that Kylo Ren's lightsaber is really cool, and the reason I like his is because they did like a broadsword lightsaber with like the hilts and everything on it.
We're not done yet.
Showed like that's a part where you can see the fantasy seeping through the science fiction, you know, that where they bring it to your attention like these are swords.
For me, it has been always a lightsaber. I still remember when the first time I watched Star Wars, especially the Anakin one. He also unified throughout the whole movies. A lot of people have touch it. Rey, Finn, Han, Luke, so many people, even Obi-Wan.
An elegant weapon for a more civilized age. For over 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice in the Old Republic, before the Dark Times.
It's a weapon with history.
We were talking about Game of Thrones and how they have like heirloom weapons. Like lightsabers are essentially the same thing. Like they get passed down. There's history. Like, and that's what's really cool.
Yeah.
That lightsaber. It belongs to me. Come get it. Nipples? Which?
I chose Buffy. Joss Whedon knows how to make a great female character as well, because that is, for whatever reason, sorely lacking. Even though recently we've been getting a lot of good female characters, which I'm very glad.
How do you get better than Tenacious D in the Pick of Destiny?
Give me a power slide, full throttle. How'd that feel?
Really good. How did it look?
Amazingly bad.
It has everything. It's got shout outs to the classic show they did. I love the songs they did for the movie. They even got Paul F. Tompkins reprising his role, and of course Dave Grohl as the devil.
And Ben Stiller as the guy who like gives them their quest.
Yes.
Two righteous dudes on an epic quest to become the greatest rock and roll band of all time.
I love that story. I feel like you can't get more fun of a low fantasy than that one.
Sasquatch! The Wicker Man, which is kind of a pagan fantasy. And
Are you going with the original, or are you going with
the original? But I mean, to me, it was a good pagan fantasy.
Supernatural. Because that is probably like the only show that I've stuck with for 11 seasons now. Like it's still obviously, and they do change it up a lot. And yeah, like people can say that it's gone crazy and it's kind of predictable.
No one in the history of torture has been tortured with torture like the torture you'll be tortured with.
But it's still entertaining and charming.
IMHO. J&J had a late one last night.
It was one of those shows that, you know, I was like, oh, you know, there's no way that's going to stay on, so I didn't give it a chance. And then it kept going. I was like, okay, I got to give this show a chance. And my friend is the one that actually got me into it. I mean, I just started it last year.
Dad's on a hunting trip, and he hasn't been home in a few days.
I started it last April, and I binged it all last year to get caught up with the season that they were doing last year. And got caught up in time for it, and then I was watching all of them, you know, week to week this year, and I hands down the best. I wish that I would have started it, you know, back in the day. And you know, so it's thanks to her. It was a good choice and a good suggestion.
Well, I'm gonna say kudos to you, because for those of you who don't watch Supernatural, it is like 11 seasons deep with 22 episodes per season, so it is a marathon to catch up on Supernatural. Yeah. So this is for Austin. Good job.
Yeah.
And that show is amazing, and it still has the goods. They blew me away with some of their episodes this season. They're still finding like different, unique stuff to do within that setting that is awesome.
Who is the better character, Dean or Sam? And I say, it's Dean.
Dean?
Because Dean is he's the older brother. He's the one that protects Sam. He's the one that almost all the hard battles, he's the most tough one. And also, Sam, if you really examine the whole show, a lot of things that happen is because of Sam. Sam is always the guilty one.
Thank you. That's what family's for, right?
Dean is the much better hunter. He's always committed his life to being a hunter. He's never really second guessed it like Sam. The only time he really stopped being a hunter is when Sam died and Sam told him to stop being a hunter, you know?
But I looked it up on IMDb and it said fantasy. So I'm going to go with Lost.
I knew it.
Yep. Yeah, I knew it.
I want to explain that I know what you're feeling.
Fantastic show. Great story and everything. And so it was like, we talked about this with Candace the other day, like last week on the, the sign-off, we're at the open panel, like, I don't know, it's just a fantastic story all the way throughout, and like, it's about the journey and how the characters develop and all of how their stories are intertwined. So that's why I love Lost.
All in the name of Jacob.
The Shin Megami Tensei for Persona, or Persona 4 the animation as an animated series, and I talked about it on here before, but it's the kids who discover there's this alternate dimension inside televisions, and they get the power to use shards of their personalities, almost like magical weapons, and then they have to solve the serial killer's murder mystery.
I was gonna say Harry Potter is my pick for low fantasy.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Because like when I saw the first movie, I remember being confused because like none of the previews showed like the part at home. So like I hadn't read the books until after I saw the movie. I'm like, I thought this was supposed to be about wizards. Like, what have y'all taken me to see? Like,
I'm going to bed before either of you come up with another clever idea to get us killed, or worse, expelled.
This is in the modern setting.
I think that's why I'm like really excited for Fantastic Beasts, is because it's definitely going to be more set in like the Muggle world. You know what I mean? While you have the familiar aspects of the Harry Potter world. I don't know.
And we also get to like see it from a point of view of not England.
From a Hufflepuff and
Yes.
not a Gryffindor, which
Yes.
is a big difference as well, because Newt Scamander is a.
You're an interesting man, Mr. Scamander.
It's about this looking for like a most wanted person, and when they find him, they find out that he's been murdered, and they find out that he's been murdered by somebody who has something called the Troubles.
Ends up having like these Freak of the Week episodes, and what's cool about Audrey is that she can't be like, she has like an immunity, so like she's able to help these people throughout their troubles. There's a lot of cool things going on. There's like secret bloodlines and secret societies and cool tattoos. It does lose momentum after a while. I have to catch back up because it kind of just lost steam.
Yeah, it kind of like that too, but I mean, when you first watch it, you get kind of hooked.
Scott Pilgrim.
You're too good for him. Run.
More the books than the movie, because there's like a lot of like underlying. It's not necessarily like magic, but it's obviously not like real life that's incorporated into that world and appreciated.
Forget what I said earlier. Finish him.
Because like, you know, Harry Potter, like they talk about magic as something that is extraordinary. Whereas like in Scott Pilgrim, he's like, yeah, I punched a guy so hard, he made a crater in the moon, whatever. And people accept that at face value. Like that's who he is as a person.
Oh, nothing. We just shot the shit. He's just a really nice guy. We're gonna get brunch next week. We actually have a lot in common.
And people are like,
I
yeah.
love when they're fighting the first time, and like the sister is just like is the only one who's like not accepting this. She's just like, what?
I love his sister. I think her name's Stacy.
Austin and Billy just did our fan fights on TUFF Fan Friction this weekend, so you guys can check that out on YouTube if you want on the TUFF channel. Please try to watch those videos so that they can get views too. We love having the show going on Mondays. Hope it's working for everybody. If you have any questions you want to submit, if you have any new categories you want to submit, we want all of that stuff. You can send that to us at our Twitter at OddShapedPanel.
Also, while you're on the TUFF channel, that's where you'll find fan friction, the fights we were talking about before, and our show. Check out a friend of the show, Brian. You can find him at Herskelles on Twitter. He has a show called The DVD Bunker. Him and a friend of his go through his collection, which he has an enormous one of, and they're trying to weed out what doesn't belong there. We're going to do a shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
We work with a lot of smart people who do a lot of things.
Hey, what's up? I'm Cal. I'm the Kingslayer. I do a show on Friday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, called The Night's Watch, where we recap basically that week's episode of Game of Thrones. So right now, this Friday, we'll be talking about the episode No One that played last night. And Tom and Kimber on it, they co-host with me, and they have a lot of insight, and they know their stuff too. So it's really cool to go bounce back ideas back and forth, and we make a lot of predictions as well. So we have a lot of fun stuff going on. It's at Night's Watch Blab on Twitter, or you can email us at nightswatchblab@gmail.com. Come join us Friday nights 8 p.m. and talk about Game of Thrones.
If you guys want to check out my website, Weird One Reviews, I just dropped like 5 or 6 reviews for the past month. They're written reviews. I've been trying to get my YouTube channel back up and going, but I've been sick the last month. But if you want to check that out, and if you want, share it. Also on Facebook, there's a Facebook page that you can like Weird One Reviews there. That way you can get up to date on when I actually post them. So yeah, that's it. And if you want, follow me on Twitter at Weird One, the Twitter handle there, or if you go to my website, there's all the social media links there.
Jeannine just designed shirts that you can get with the TUFF logo on them. She put them up in her store, and she might be working on an odd-shaped panel design as well. We should show the next prize to the giveaway.
Maybe we should show the next prize.
Giveaway is still happening. We're just waiting on some last items to come in. Of course, we had the killing joke, and we also had the 2 bobbleheads. So the next item is going to be this handmade Pokeball dice bag that I made. It's got a drawstring, holds lots of dice if you're into gaming, or other items, and it might have a little surprise in there as well. No peeking.
Thanks again, everyone. We'll see you next week. Goodbye. Look out for
Bye.
I'll be dropping on Tuesdays now because it takes me a lot longer than I anticipated. Bye.
Bye.
Anna has lifted her skirts. The day has set.